And we are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. Today, the Keeg Talks Netflix's Avatar, The Last Airbender. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and on today's episode, I got three guests, obviously, to talk about everything that had to do with this show, this adaptation. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see our guests because that's not how podcasts work. So let me introduce them. First, she watches everything. We got Maria watches everything. Maria, what's up?
Hi, I do watch everything, and I watched Avatar for the first time a month ago. So
The cartoon?
For the first time ever in my adult life. So then I watched Legend of Korra right after, and it was like just in time for the live action. And I didn't plan it this way, I promise. I was watching Avatar, watching Korra, and they're like, "Hey, did you know the live action's about to come out?" And I was like, "No way!" So it worked out like perfectly. I finished Legend of Korra, and then the live action came out. So
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I'm very excited once I introduce everybody how we all kind of got into this. So Maria, glad to have you back.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Also back for another time, but it's also been, I don't know how long it's been, Sarah, but we got Sarah, aka Movies and Tea. Sarah B, Movies and Tea.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I'm really excited to talk about Avatar: Last Airbender. It has been like a hot second though since I've been on, so I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you back. We also have a first timer here on the show. The question is it Maria? But it's actually Maria.
It is actually Maria.
It's like, if you're ever wondering, is it actually Maria? It's actually Maria. Maria, how's it going? First time. Glad to have you on.
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I love your cosplay. And like your content. First thing, everybody's content is top notch, but I feel like I've already complimented Maria and Sarah before on their content. So Maria, welcome to the club.
Thank you.
How did everybody get into Avatar? Because Maria was saying it was a month ago.
Yeah, it was actually like January 15th. So yeah, basically a month, maybe a month and a half ago. Yeah.
That's wild.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I got into it during COVID, so like it's not like that.
Oh,
wild,
yeah.
But you know.
Yeah. It was like on my watch list for a while. I was doing this thing where like I was gonna finally watch everything that everyone's been recommending to me. The Doctor Who, which is something that Sarah's actually recommended to me as well.
Okay.
So I started Doctor Who, I started Avatar, I started Star Trek. But Avatar was what like got me right away. So I just decided to just watch it until I was done with it. It was just shows that I've been meaning to watch that I said I would watch for the longest time, and I finally got around to it. So that's how I started Avatar.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Maria, how did you get into it?
I grew up watching Avatar on Nickelodeon as a kid. I don't know if you can see it. I have a little Toph right there.
Oh yeah,
up above my bed. So Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, watched all of it growing up as a kid, and then rewatched it again when the whole resurgence happened during like COVID and everything.
I haven't watched it a second time, so like part of me wants to go back and rewatch it, but then also I have yet to watch Legend of Korra, so I kind of need to watch that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's me. I got into Avatar during COVID, and then it's been a couple years, so watching this new show has been interesting for me. But Sarah, what about you?
I've also been watching it since 2005. Watched it for the first time on Nickelodeon. Thought I was going into SpongeBob, but no, it was Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was like, what is this madness? And then when it ended, I like started Legend of Korra, and I don't think I grew on Legend of Korra until it came to Netflix because I just couldn't get into it. Like my young mind was like, I can't deal with anything other than Avatar: Last Airbender. I watched Avatar: Last Airbender very questionably up until it came on Netflix in 2020 to rewatch it. You can like imply what the questionably was. And yeah, I mean, I'm like diehard fan of Avatar: Last Airbender. Love it.
Okay. Do you have an Aang shirt?
I don't have an Aang shirt, but I do have an Avatar: Last Airbender shirt. So.
Oh, well, okay. I just got this. I'm acting like I've been wearing this for years. This is the first time I got it literally for this show, and I was like, all right, that's So yeah, we're all coming at Avatar from like a different angle, and I mean, before we get into the Netflix Avatar show, have you guys seen the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar, or not Avatar, the Last Airbender movie?
Unfortunately, half of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Actually, half an hour of it. I don't think I got past half an hour.
Uh-huh.
I watched the whole thing when I was younger. It was
God.
terrible.
I'm so sorry.
I think I watched the whole thing like as a joke with my friends.
Yeah. I didn't finish it. Like, I got till the end and I'm like, I mean, I can't. I couldn't. Given that everybody here is fans of those original 3 seasons or books or whatever, let's talk about that M. Night movie, because I find it very interesting. That's like the first live action adaptation, and then like it's been years, right? And then Netflix announces that they're gonna do another one, right? Like another remake, reboot, whatever. But I think figuring out where this one can do better or like pass or fail comes from how M. Night did his movie. How did you guys really feel about the M. Night movie?
It's so bad.
Awful.
I'm just gonna come out here and
everyone
say
was
that.
white.
Yeah.
Why was everyone white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day.
Appa had weird legs.
Oh God, the
Oh, did he?
phalanges.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh, that was-
yes.
The only reason
it's
I
a
remember that
cursed
is because
image.
of Maria's TikTok.
Yeah, I think I
I'm
was
like, oh,
scarred.
God.
I was scarred for life. So I did a reaction video to watching Avatar. So if you want to see content about it, go scroll back. I was terrified when I saw Appa. It was so scary to see him.
I'm typing in M. Night Appa. Oh, he looks like a tardigrade, right? Is that kind of what he was going for? I don't
Who
know.
knows what he was going for?
I always feel bad. I have this weird attachment to CGI animals and CGI creatures. Like, stop making fun of them. They're not real. But I feel really bad for the original Sonic the Hedgehog design. Like, and then they used him in the Chip and Dale movie. And like, I was like, I still feel bad for him.
I don't know, no comment, because I feel like anyone who was a fan growing up should have more to say about the M. Night Shyamalan movie, because I just like watched it as a joke, because I was like, oh, I'm curious. So I feel like Sarah Maria would have more feelings about it, because like to have it watching growing up and then being like, oh my God, it's a live action movie, and then to see that, I feel like it's like a heartbreak in itself. So
I mean, they called him Ong. They called him Ong the whole movie.
Yeah. I watched part of it and they kept saying Avatar, right? Like they did that like pronunciation of everybody's like names were kind of in that like phonetic pronunciation. Ong and Avatar.
the bending was bad too. Like the fire bending, they had to have fire. They did a whole dance just to move like one pebble with the earth bender. Like I think that's what also got me too. It was just like it was hard to take seriously.
Yeah. I think what was worse about it is like also growing up, like Nickelodeon hyped it up so much. Like they were even on Kids' Choice Awards. It was everything. And then it was like, oh my God, you've just butchered our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I find it funny that the main 3 in that movie, not Zuko, but the main 3 don't have careers anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is really
that's
unfortunate,
right.
actually.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I was like, has Ong ever gone on and done anything else? He did Cowboys and Aliens right after, and that's it.
Oh really?
He was in 2 movies.
I actually heard he was bullied out of acting, which is really, really unfortunate.
I mean, that's
Oh,
sad.
I think that's
so
like the
sad.
worst
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also bad
I did-
casting. But yes, it's super sad.
I heard that Dave Patel actually after Avatar decided never to do like a blockbuster movie ever again. Because like you know how like he made that like announcement that he doesn't want to do those movies.
Yeah.
It was because of like him being in that movie. That's why he.
I mean, it makes sense, but also, I wish Dev Patel would do more things.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that Avatar like skewed his choices in that.
Yeah. I mean, my big problems with the M. Night movies movie. Oh, can you imagine if there was another one?
Book 2.
I think the M. Night movie tried to do everything very realistic. And so then they toned down everything. Like, everything was toned down. Whether it was, like, the bending or, I mean, the colors, right? The colors were, like, toned down. The bending was toned down. In that world, like, the bending wasn't crazy. Like, somebody would have invented a gun. You know? Because it wasn't powerful enough. Like, it couldn't have given you that much of an edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, that movie, it took itself way too seriously. That's what I feel was, like, the biggest problem.
Yeah.
What were you guys' hopes and dreams for when this show was announced? That they were going to do essentially a season for the first book. They're called books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just hoping it wasn't going to be like M. Night in 2005. Like, that was the bar at this point. Like, the bar was set so low that I was like, as long as it's not that bad, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I was kind of just hoping for like, my one thing is I wanted the costumes to look good. I'm a cosplay, obviously. I love looking at the costumes, and I thought that they did a top-notch job with the costumes in this show versus like the M. Night movie.
Yeah, I wanted Appa's redemption for sure. Like I wanted
Appa looks cute.
Appa. Yeah, because
Appa does look cute. He's adorable.
He's all fluffy too, like because you know how like that
Very
episode where
fluffy.
like Appa's hair like sheds. And I was just like, I wanted to be like an animal that sheds, and he looks like he would shed. And Momo's adorable too. So the animals are one of my favorite parts of Avatar, which is so weird, but they did a really good job. M. Night's movie didn't really have animals, actually, right? I don't think.
Yeah, no, not really.
Barely. So,
No.
and there were definitely animals in this one, so that was really nice to see.
Yeah. Let's get it out of the way. What did everybody grade this season out of 10? That's our grading scale. I even if you want to explain it just a little bit, you can defend yourself. Patrick Star 92 says Leaves from the Vine out of 10. What does that mean?
Like how many leaves?
Leaves from the Vine is like the song that Iroh sings about his son. Yeah, that's one of the, we haven't gotten that in the live action. That's from season 2.
Actually, they did in the live action.
Oh no, that's right.
Like
they did it in episode 6.
Right?
Yeah,
they did the instrumental of it.
Yeah, they did it like in the intro with him and Aang. Iroh was talking to Aang, and they did it in a flashback scene.
Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't catch that. I need to go.
Yeah,
watch
it's
it again.
really subtle. It's I think like I don't know, there was something Pavlovian about it that when I heard it, I was like, oh, so like I freaked out.
The funeral scene, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Anytime Iroh and I think Zuko talked to, they started playing it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
There was that other flashback scene. Yeah, that's why I have to go back and watch certain scenes for sure to make sure.
Did we announce what we would grade it?
I'd say I gave it a good 7 out of 10. You know, I thought I sat down and I had an enjoyable time watching it. But there were some things that I was like, oh, okay, this is, but you know, overall, not bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna grade this 7.5. I think that it falls in a lot of problems that Percy Jackson fell into. And I mean, I can expand on that later. But if I'm comparing the two, and I think I gave Percy Jackson a 7, I think I enjoyed this one better.
Yeah, I gave it a 7.5 as well. I felt like there were a lot of redeemable qualities, and I kind of watched it as like a standalone TV show with like hints to the animated show. And I think watching it like with that frame was a lot easier than trying to constantly compare it to the animated show, because I felt like right after the first episode I couldn't do that anymore. But yeah, I would say 7.5. There were things that I strongly disliked, but things that I really liked as well.
So I did rate it. I'm gonna do a 6.75. I will say that I think watching it for the first time as an adult, like just a month ago, really hurt me because it was so fresh. So like I wish I could do what Sarah did, which was like I could just separate it almost. And I tried to do that, but unfortunately it did kind of like sway the way I viewed it. I do think there's a lot of things that they added that I think they did a lot of things well. And I liked a lot of the changes. And I think it added a story to a story that I loved. So I will think the show has value for existing just because of those things, like that flashback moment. Love that moment. Like the series was worth it just for that Zuko Iroh flashback moment. But I think my problem was that I found myself like not enjoying it that much, unfortunately. Like overall, like I thought there was some things that were really well done. It was really good. It was definitely better than M. Night Shyamalan's. But like by the end of it, I was like, okay, like I think I'm like ready for it to be over towards the end. But there was episodes that I really loved, like episode 2, I really loved. Episode 6, I think I really loved. And there's a lot of stuff that I really like. I'm like, it had value by itself. So maybe I guess I'll give it a 7 because like I'm saying more positive things now. I feel bad for rating it so low. I really do think like I'm a little biased because I just watched everything so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, after all, however many, years, like loving something as a kid, getting the live action adaptation that maybe isn't exactly what you dreamed up in your head. I think there's like something to be said about like being fans of a show and like tempering expectations no matter what. Even if it is like an amazing thing, like it's always going to be different. And it's never like, unless you're working on the project, you have no say so. So you could be like, well, I would have done it this way. Well, it's not up to any of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like going off that, I don't know how I would have done it better though. So like I can't even criticize them because it's like they had a lot to do. I do have questions on like why they chose certain things. But like I'm like, I don't know how I would have done this because they had 8 episodes. There's like 20 something episodes per season. So that's a really hard question to ask,
I think it's being weighed down by just what's weighing down most of these adaptations in general and most of these streaming shows. Even brought like there's adaptations and then like and then there's like the expectations and parameters of streaming shows. Like 8 episode season. It could have been 10, could have been 13, could have breathed a little. But it didn't.
Yeah, but I mean the minute length is over the original series. So they had the time for sure. Each episode's 52 and there's 8 episodes and the original series it's 20 and 20 minutes usually. So they had the time for sure, but I don't know.
Okay. So I'm wrong. All right.
It's like it's
well,
both.
no, I
right?
mean like when you look at it from the outside, you're like 8 episodes.
Yeah,
but, like,
you're right.
Punch the numbers.
I mean, it's way better. Also, M. Night's movie was super rushed. You had to like do the whole season in less than 2 hours. I'm assuming
less than 2 hours. Yeah.
So like, sure, it got more room to breathe. But like, the pitfalls of these adaptations are kind of tough. Now Sarah has me thinking about the length of like time.
Well, because 8 times 50 is 400,
Yeah.
and then 20 times 20 is 400, so it's roughly the same.
Yeah.
they didn't just stick with book one like storylines. They added other like it's like so. And this is where I'm like, they chose their I don't know their choices were interesting, like what they chose to add. And again, this is like Regency bias because I just watched everything. But I was just like, why would they add something from book three into book one when they only had like this limited time? But like everything made sense in the context of like the story they were building, like all the stuff in Amashu, they did it all together. But it was like, yeah, but they added stuff from season two. So like, I don't know, they used their time very interestingly.
I
Yeah.
was telling my roommate, Justice, I was telling him that like, do you guys know Family Matters? With Steve Urkel and everything? So like, Steve Urkel didn't appear in Family Matters.
It's an old sitcom.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's fine.
Wait,
you don't.
Yeah, it's like, did I do that catchphrase?
Yeah,
it's okay.
This reminds me of when Jessica Day on New Girl makes that reference to the kids.
Yeah, she does.
She makes those old sitcom references, and the kids are like, "Did you come up with that?" And she's like, "Yeah."
And you've seen New Girl, Sarah, so.
Yes, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So Urkel is like the nerd character that ends up like taking over the show because he becomes so popular and he becomes like the main character. But the show originally was just supposed to be about a black family in Chicago. The father's a cop. Like it was about the family. But like 10 episodes in, they introduce this annoying neighbor, Urkel, and everybody loves the character. And he just, for 7 or 8 seasons, now it's the Urkel show. And so what I was trying to say is that if they ever did a reboot of Family Matters, they would introduce Urkel like episode 1. So I feel like characters like Azula, of course, like why wouldn't she be in season 1 of the live action? You know? Like, Toph, they'll hold off. But, like, Azula, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, why not? And I felt like she fit really well. And especially, like, that setup at the end, like, it all made perfect sense. Like, the reason why she was set up when she was set up, and then leading up till that ending.
Let's talk about stuff we really loved about this show. I loved. Well, no. I'll let you guys go first. What did you guys really love about this show?
I'll say it again. I loved the costumes.
Yeah.
I thought the costumes were so perfect because it's kind of hard to take like animated costumes and make them look good and not too cheesy, like in a live action show. But I thought that they brought a lot of like elements of like traditional clothing from like the actual cultures that the Bending Nations are based off of, and then making it look like the cartoon, but still looking good. I thought they did a fantastic job with it.
The costumes are really good.
Yeah.
Even something like Aang, who like is bright and colorful, and it's like, would he work in live action? I thought he worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. The costuming was really gorgeous. And just like on top of that, like characters like the spirits, I thought would look kind of like funky or wonky. They looked so good. I was like, this actually looks like the perfect translation between this and that. It was, I was shook to be honest. And like even like the blue spirit, who's not technically like a spirit, but like the mask itself, like I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, it was just, I would say I would have to agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it gave that energy because like whenever you see the blue spirit in the episode, because everything's dark, but like the blue shines, it gave that same vibe. Ko, like the face stealer, was so frightening. Like I remember being really scared, and like they just embodied like how terrifying they would be. Calling, it was just Ko was really good. I was not expecting it to be that good. I'm a big fan of Zuko. I think the character, like the actor that played Zuko, did like a hands down phenomenal job. Like they understood the assignment with Zuko, and like they're my like a lot of the actors did a great job, but Zuko, like I thought, like really went into it.
I like how they were talking about how how the actors even knew that like how hard it is just to pull off that like top knot like look
Yeah.
that Zuko has.
Yeah.
Because like there are cosplayers that won't do that, like but like they did it for the show, you know, because it was. I mean, Dev Patel. Can you imagine Dev Patel doing that?
I forgot what he did. What did he?
It was
end up
just
doing?
hair. It was just
was
like
it?
hair,
Okay.
and then it was like a little scar on the side, like of his
Oh, okay,
hairline,
yeah.
where the burns would have been.
Dallas Blue committed.
And it's funny because he has like really good hair, right?
He has perfect like
Yup.
book 3 like Zuko hair. Like he's ready for book 3.
I mean, he already grew it back, which is really nice.
I know.
Hey, it looks wonderful.
Yeah.
He knows what he's writing. He's like he's putting the image out there for all of us.
Yeah. The hair or the costumes were great. Also the facial hair and just hair in general, I thought.
Oh yeah.
To an extent, actually. Now that I'm thinking about, there were some hair styles that did not work.
Certain wigs.
Certain wigs.
There were
Oh,
there
yeah.
were some wigs that needed some work. As a cosplayer, I think I
Yeah.
have to say Yue, and I thought Tylee's bangs.
Oh yeah.
Oh, in May, I didn't like
Yeah.
her.
And like I feel like those
Oh,
actresses
yeah.
were really they were good and just like their wigs make them kind of stand out. Because their costume was great,
Yeah.
their
Mhm.
facial expressions were great, then their wigs just like kind of like ruined
So
it.
off-putting.
Like, yeah.
Was it meant to look cartoony? You know what I mean? Like, were the wigs supposed to look a little?
I feel like they would have done that with
Maybe.
the other characters. if they
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
that.
Because it wasn't consistent. Like sometimes it looked super good and sometimes it looked like it stood out. So it's like hard to tell. Like Katara and like Sokka looked super natural and like
Yeah. Almost
know?
too natural. Like, Katara's hair kind of looked...
oh, I thought it worked.
Really?
I mean, it looks like what Katara's hair looks like.
Yeah.
With the loopies.
Yeah.
So I thought it worked.
The loopies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
like Katara's
Iroh.
hair.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think I like Sokka's hair too. Iroh's hair was good too. Iroh's beard.
Yeah. I want to shout out all time Vivian says, I loved how sassy Zuko was.
Yes. The he ran. It just was.
Wait, what?
He had a
There was
journal.
ice in a place where
There's
ice
ice
wasn't.
I shouldn't be.
And that there should have been ice.
Oh.
He literally had jazz fingers whenever he said he ran. He had a diary. It was adorable. It was perfect.
You stole my diary. You're reading my personal information. Identity theft isn't a joke.
There's a sound wherever like it's playing the Regina George bird book sound and it's Zuko like scribbling Aang's picture and he's putting it up. It's just like so
I
perfect.
saw that. It's so funny.
Part of my issue with this series was that they didn't let it breathe and have enough fun with it. Because they were just trying to get to the next step. And Percy Jackson did that too. And it's just an adaptation thing, maybe?
Possibly.
Yeah. It felt very, because Avatar, it did the anime thing of having like filler episodes. So like, I feel like once we took away like those filler episodes, it made everything feel like so condensed and so fast, where like, you know, we didn't get an episode of them just like traveling and in the woods and they find something funky that just like never comes back again. But we just kind of like, oh, we've got to rush right through, which again, like I think Percy Jackson did too.
Yeah.
And that's like unfortunately where it kind of lost me. So I really liked that we got to build like I love Azula. Like I love her, she's my favorite character. But I think if like we didn't have Azula, that'd be one less storyline they would have had to build. And like that's why book 1 doesn't have Azula. So we can like focus on Zuko and Aang and Katara, Sokka. So it's like I almost feel like adding Azula, which makes sense. Of course we would have Azula because she's one of the fan favorites. She's one of my favorite characters. But like I was just like, oh, I wish we watched Aang waterbend. was just like, why hasn't Aang waterbended at
Mhm.
all? Like, is he gonna learn all the
Girl.
bending in next season? How is that gonna happen? It was stressing me out.
Did he not
Yeah.
waterbend at all?
He didn't learn it at
No.
all. He shows up into the
Did
water
not touch
tribe.
water.
Yeah. The final battle, he can't do anything but like airbend. And I'm like, how are you gonna do this? I was stressing. I was very stressed out.
How does it happen in the cartoon?
He's
He,
done
like-
fire bending, he's done water bending, he's like done almost like 3 of the 4 bendings. He's like tried to learn all of them.
By end of season 1?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
He's not good at fire bending because he messed up, but he had already tried to practice it.
Where were they spending all the extra time?
Azula.
No.
And well, and Ozai. And like they added a lot of like backstory with Sokka and like Katara that was later. So they did a lot. They did so much. They did a lot. Don't get me wrong. But like they did a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I'm having to like think back on like some of that stuff. I feel like a big problem is also just streaming shows in general. And like Marvel and Disney, they have their way of doing streaming shows, which is petering out a little bit because they're like making their shows like movies, but like TV shows aren't movies, and like the filler episodes are like instrumental to a TV show. Like TV shows used to be 22 episodes, let's just say. You used to have filler episodes. Like some people hate filler episodes. Me personally, I like them.
Who hates filler episodes? I want to know who these people are.
People who
'Cause I
like
keep
movies,
hearing-
I think. People who like
Okay,
movies
okay.
over TV, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I wonder because everyone always says that, but I'm like, I think that we TV lovers usually like filler episodes.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, they're very important to like character development, especially like filler, especially when it deals with like kids' TV shows. Like you need those
Mhm.
episodes where like they're just chilling out, having fun, going in the lake, swimming around. Like I like one of the funny episodes in season 1 in Avatar: The Last Airbender was like the secret tunnel, and they made that into kind of like a really quick side plot. And like I was like, hello.
It was so quick. Yeah,
Where's
it was.
everyone else?
Yeah, that was with Boomy, right? That they added it
Yeah.
with when Boom. Oh my gosh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah, see? So
Yeah,
quick.
it was very quick.
Yeah.
did you guys like Boomy?
No.
Okay, thank God. I was like, oh no, because I
No.
I really
I'll
like
just
that
bring that
actor
up.
too. Yeah, I really like that actor.
Sorry, I
too.
saw your face. I'm like, I'll just say it for you.
Why was he so serious? He's supposed to be goofy. Like,
He was
he's
kind of
supposed to be this
scary
crazy
too.
goofy guy. Yeah, he's supposed to be this crazy goofy guy and fun and wise. He was super. He was
He's
very.
pissed
Yeah.
at the world.
Very bitter old man. Oh,
I also like the actor Utkarsh.
yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because like Aang names one of his sons after him. And I'm like, not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, after that, welcome.
Yeah.
The makeup was really good.
His
Though.
son after him.
Yeah, it was good. He did a good job because he's a young man, so like he did look old.
I was trying to look
yeah, that's
through the.
true.
You know how like sometimes when you like see the prosthetics, you try to like look through it and like see like can you see them underneath it? But like I couldn't. I could tell, but I couldn't tell. So I was like, oh, all right, that's my litmus test. He's really good on Ghosts. If you ever watch
Yeah,
Ghosts.
it was casted well. I think this was like a writing thing. Like I don't think it was his fault. I think it was more of like how they wrote him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, for the purpose of this podcast, we can't go through like from A to Z of like all the events that happened. But like now it's like dawning on me like all these little things about the show. Quick question. Did you guys feel compelled to watch the next episode after an episode ended?
Depended on the episode. I feel
Yeah.
like, once we started getting into those episodes that had the same scene, like the Omashu scenes, and then also like the Blue Spirit and the Spirit World scene, like that, those 2 episodes specifically, I was like, oh my gosh, we got to complete this episode so that Aang can go save Katara and Sokka. Like I was like stressed during that, and like kind of stressed during Omashu because those were all combined. But yeah.
I feel like for me too, it was like every other. Like I really liked episode 2. That was a Kyoshi Warrior one. And we got to see Kyoshi. I loved that episode. So like I was after episode 1, episode 2, 3. Like I think like every other episode, I was like, oh my god, this was so good. So I kept watching, and then I don't know. It was like hills and valleys for me.
I feel like at a certain point they just started to blend together because of how just like binging in general when you're because this show obviously is made to be binged. Like that's how like most streaming services are now. Like, so I just was like, okay, Kyoshi Warriors, it's all one big thing, and then the main ending.
Yeah.
Main ending.
Yeah.
That is kind of the problem with like binging, and like why I'm against like bulk releasing episodes. Like if you choose to binge like New Girl, that's your prerogative, right? Like it's over, it's done with, you binge it. I'm not saying don't binge that, but I think when like studios or whatever choose to bulk release, like it all just kind of blurs together. And you like, if I asked anyone, like, you remember the 4th episode of Daredevil season 1? No, you just remember like kind of what happens in season 1. Same with this. I can't remember what happens in each episode.
It does blur together. I very much agree with Maria. Like I can't actually.
Yeah, I kind of just remember like the settings in which I'm like, okay, this happened in Omashu, this happened on Kyoshi Island, North Pole, South Pole. Okay, great, we're basically done. And like Village.
Village.
Village 1.
I remember like events. Like I remember like the spirits is whenever we. Actually, I don't remember what happened in Spirits. I'm gonna think about it. I just remember that's the Blue Spirit episode.
When we're saying spirits, are we talking like the avatars themselves?
Wait, okay, so there's the Blue Spirit episode and there's the Spirits episode. So Spirits episodes with Ko.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the Blue Spirit episode, but I don't remember what the Blue Spirit episode is now called.
The Blue Spirit being
Mask. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
And that's whenever we do the flashback with the Agni Kai, I think, with Zuko.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all actually kind of blending together now.
Yeah. I just watched the M. Night scene where Dev Patel Zuko goes in with the mask that has all the hair. Like his mask has like a huge hair.
Yeah, I don't think I got this far, so I need to go watch this maybe.
It's so the choices were so weird. And then there were like tanks with treads in that movie, like, or it was like a cart with like tread, like it was a mechanical cart that like Zuko's underneath, and it goes through this like mechanical like bridge that looks futuristic. It's the weirdest thing.
Because they do have tanks in like the final season of the original cartoon, I think, but like that's like the most technology they get.
Yeah,
and they use bending to
and the blimp, right?
That.
Yeah, they have a blimp, and that's like it.
Yeah, like Earthbenders do the tank, the submarines are waterbenders, the balloons are firebenders. So I don't know how a firebender would do tank
with bending.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were talking about Zuko. Like everybody relatively likes Zuko, or at least sorry, is it Dallas Liu?
Yeah. And Uncle Iroh's character too.
Oh yeah.
I love him. Paul,
great.
What's his name? Paul Sun Hyung Lee.
Yes.
From Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Star Wars.
Star Wars now. Yeah. Let's talk about Uncle Iroh.
What did he play in Star Wars?
Is he an Andor? I'm making it up. What is he in?
He's a Mandalorian.
He's a
Mandalorian. You're right.
He's a rebel pilot in Mandalorian and in
yeah, season 3.
And in Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, he was in Ahsoka. I totally forgot about that.
Because that all takes place in that same time.
Yeah, yeah. That
mhm.
also was blending in together because they were like released around the same time. Yeah.
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 Patrick Starr says no pirates, bummer.
Oh yeah, I love that episode. That was a good one.
Oh my gosh.
What happens
yeah,
with
the fact
pirates?
that
I forget.
So Katara steals a water scroll from them, and like Sokka's very sassy in it. It was a good Sokka episode. It's a fun adventure episode. It's a filler fun one, you
Yeah.
know? Mhm.
I mean,
Sorry,
like
what
the
were you
fact
saying?
that Katara just got, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, Katara just got the waterbending scrolls, and the
Oh,
moment she
yeah.
got them, I'm like, oh, they've cut the pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
Yeah, because she like steals them.
Mhm.
And that's like,
Yeah.
I feel like Katara was a little less badass in the live action than she was in like the
Yeah.
original cartoon.
I feel like a lot of her
You
personality
know-
was a little drained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who she was like? It was like Ember Island player Katara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's been
Oh,
saying
yeah.
this, by the way, right?
Oh, that's
like,
such a good yeah.
is this the
Yeah.
Ember Island
There's
performance?
there's a Sokka comparison too, that he looks exactly like the Ember Island Sokka.
I don't know about that.
I it was like side by side, and I'm like, oh wow, that's like too much. But I think he looks like the real Sokka too. So I don't know. But yeah, that's hard to unsee. She was very much giving that for sure.
Yeah. She was more passive, right?
Mm-hmm.
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 Versus like the M. Night one. Because again, I just watched it. So here's the backstory about this girl. The actress's name is Nicola Peltz. If you saw Transformers
great.
4, did you ever see Transformers 4? That's the one where she's in it, but she has like an older boyfriend, and he's the one who's like, the Romeo and Juliet law. I can date an underage girl because blah blah blah. And I'm gonna tell Mark Wahlberg that I can date his underage daughter according to the law. It's like, why is this part of this movie? Anyway, she's the underage girl. And so it's Maria. Have you seen that scene?
No, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing like, the TikTok when they just play the whole movie. I think I've seen that like on TikTok.
It's so weird. It's like, first thing, why are we putting this in the movie? Second thing, what is the writer? Like, somebody needs to look into that writer because a little weird. Anyway, Nicola Peltz is like a daughter of a billionaire who, according to what some people think, the dad just pays for her to be in movies. And so, like, he'll fund projects and she can be in it. And I noticed that in the M. Night movie that, like, she talks a lot. Like, constantly. It never matters, but, like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
She just talks.
She'll always chime in that movie.
There's like a moment where like everything Aang said, she repeats. And I think that's when I stopped watching. Because like Aang was just like, he's like, I ran away. She's like, why'd you run away? He's like, I was scared to be the Avatar. Why were you scared to be the Avatar? And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was in her contract that she had to have as many lines as Ong.
Yeah, she seemed to have.
To the point where they're matching lines.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Uncle Iroh, though, he was so sweet in this. I liked the actor and I liked him. And like I could see him struggling with Zuko. And I think Zuko and him were like some of my favorite parts of this. Is that a hot take? Pun not intended.
I love Iroh, his whole character from even the cartoon to this one. I thought they did a good job with Uncle Iroh of him being like kind of like Zuko's dad, but also like I just think that his character is so funny because imagine being like one of the most notorious war criminals and then being like, I'm gonna open a tea shop. Like that's just Iroh's entire character.
Love that for him.
Yeah. Retirement plan.
Should we forgive Uncle Iroh?
Yeah.
For all
It
of
depends on how good his
God.
tea is.
Yeah,
How good
well,
is his tea, though?
Yeah, I also think like that's the point of Avatar's like redemption and forgiveness, and Uncle Iroh's whole thing's forgiveness. I actually made like a TikTok video about this because someone's just like, "How do we forgive Uncle Iroh?" And I'm like, That's what he teaches us to do, is to forgive." And I feel like he tried to do better by Zuko. So I don't know. I feel like we see his redemption arc.
Yeah.
I really like that the show added a lot of Uncle Iroh and Zuko's characterization and personality. Like they added so much more to them that I think like added so much to the original series too. So I really loved all their choices with Zuko and Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, especially those backstories, like especially when like Uncle Iroh lost his son and like Zuko came and sat with him. I was like, oh my
Cried.
gosh, this seems amazing. Like
I was
so beautiful.
crying. Yeah.
the lights and the color in those like red fire rooms and stuff like that, it like really worked.
Yeah.
It was bold.
Yeah. They did a really good, the throne's really cool, like in the animated series, and they did a really good job with it. Like it looks so intimidating and stuff.
When it comes to adaptations, like I said, Percy Jackson and this one as well, I feel like the goal is like get to the end. And so it does this thing where it's like hitting things beat for beat, you know, skipping a couple beats, but like the point being is like, and then this happened, and then this happened, right? And like there's not much that like surprises you. But there was one big thing in this that I thought was really good, and that's the change to the 41st. It was the 41st division.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah. That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not in the cartoon, right?
No.
That was a really good change.
That was a really great change. Yeah. Also like a really big twist. Like it's like, oh my gosh, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Those are the changes that like really enhanced the show. Like people always ask like adaptations, like what did this add to the original story? And I'm like, this is like I do think this live action added to the story for that reason. Like the 41st adds so much to the original story.
But that's what they should be doing with these adaptations, right? Like after however many years, has it really been 20 years? Has it been 20 years?
19
years. That's
19.
That's crazy.
Doing the
math. When you come back at it after 20 years, hopefully you have something more to add or change or whatever. Hopefully it doesn't like everybody doesn't hate the idea, but like the goal is like evolve your art, right? I know not everybody loves The Walking Dead, but for a while there, The Walking Dead was really good. And like The Walking Dead comic was coming out at the same time as The Walking Dead show, except it was ahead in time. And like the show like deviated, but every so often would come back and like kind of scoop a couple more things out and then like do its own thing and then come back. And instead of one character getting shot in the eye with an arrow, another character did. And like you don't know who's gonna die. Maybe multiple characters will die when one person's supposed to die. And it keeps you on your toes, and it's not like, oh, what's next? Let's hit these beats and kind of go forward. I like the 41st Division in this for that reason. It's like, oh.
I think they did a good job, too, without having the original creators working for the live action, because they were originally working on it, and then they left because of creative differences. But I think they did a pretty good job without having the original two guys.
I was afraid when they announced that like they were leaving.
Yeah.
Right?
I was very afraid when they announced that they were leaving, but I think they did a pretty good job. Like they didn't do too bad.
Yeah. How do we feel about everybody just hating on this?
I don't think that's fair. I feel like this is a complete, like, it's like, you know, it's an adaptation. It's not supposed to be an exact replica. If you want an exact replica, you should be going back to the animated show and just rewatching that. Like, I feel like you should take it for exactly what it is, which is like a new TV show with hints at the old TV show, and like it's like respect towards the old TV show, but it is completely new in its own regard.
Yeah. yeah, I don't think it's fair to an adaptation, but like there is that expectation though, right? There is.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I think
expectation to be good and like to
Mhm.
be of that standard, but I don't think.
I think
I
it
don't know.
depends, like the hate too. Like it, because I've heard like a different types of like comments. Like some people are just like fat shaming, like the cast, which is too much, or like, but some people have legitimate criticisms, which is like there's too much exposition or something like that. So it's like I think they hate. I think criticism is valid because I like have my own criticisms, but like I think it depends on like what it is and like if like Sarah said, like you with the awareness, like they can only do so much. It's still an adaptation. There were going to be changes. So like as long as their expectations are like kind of kept, the right expectations stay realistic. So it depends if it's hate or criticism, and if it's legit criticism, and if they're going to have a second season, because I don't know if they've been signed on for a second season. I don't know. I hope like if the criticism and hope for like, oh, maybe they'll change it for the next season kind of commentary.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look up whether there's gonna be a second season or not.
I don't think it's been announced yet, right? Or like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of smart because like again, I keep bringing it back to Percy Jackson because like it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and like Percy Jackson season 2 wasn't announced until after even we did the podcast episode on the season. So like by that taping, I don't think it was announced, and then the day or two after it was announced. So like, I think they're waiting for like a week to like see how things do. As of 3 days ago, there's nothing official about a season 2. But we do know that they're going to do 3 animated movies.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so excited.
I think that's what I think the goal is like have your cake and eat it too, is like do these live action Netflix stuff and then continue animated movies. Why not both?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, it's like Star Wars in that regard. Like they have Clone Wars and like they've got their live action.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, Marvel's doing that with the X-Men 97 series, which is a sequel series to the 92 or 93 X-Men show. It might have been 94. But the point being is that like there's that.
And there's a trend. That's a trend in general. Like even Hunger Games, like the Ballad of Songbirds and Snake came out like 6 months before the movie came out. Bridgerton, Queen Charlotte came out the same month as the book came out. So like I think this is a normal trend that like source material is expanding as well as like the adaptations are happening at the same time.
But in 2 different directions?
Yeah, like literally the same month a Netflix show came out with a book coming out.
But it was that the same story?
I haven't read both, so I don't know. But
poser.
Yeah. Well, I haven't read. I'm reading Hunger Games first, and then I'll go back to the prequels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that happened with Jurassic Park. Like Jurassic Park book came out a long time before the movie, and then when they were doing the second movie, they asked the writer to write a second book, and it didn't really like roughly tied in, but it's a lot different. And then after that point, they were like, we're not gonna ask them anymore. So then they just kept making more movies. I forget where I was going with this. Like with Marvel, like X-Men, like bringing back that nostalgic like continuation, but then also like telling fresh new stories. I think like this Netflix show could do that and then have animated movies. Then you don't have to like pit them against each other in your heart. Did you guys feel like you were doing that? No.
At the beginning,
Really,
I was.
no.
I think I was like kind of like, oh, okay, and like especially when like the grand decided to do the opening sequence, and she was saying, I'm like, God, this this is terrible. But then eventually, like by the end of the first season, or like into the second season, I was like, okay, fine, let's just separate it.
I mean, I think the fandom might end up doing that because like that's just how fandoms are, unfortunately. But the movies are going in a different direction. because they're doing like the original OG Avatar cast as like
Mhm.
adults. So I mean,
Mhm.
so if anything, like I think like that's going to be compared to Legend of Korra more, because
Mm.
Legend of Korra also brings them up as like adults as well. So like I feel like that's going to be the comparison with how the fandom is. Maybe they will though, because like I think with the way Netflix shows goes, we're gonna watch these kids slowly grow up.
Did she freeze?
So maybe
Oh,
eventually people are gonna be like comparing them too. But yeah, hi. Maybe eventually they'll end up comparing.
okay. Um, I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, I mean, people disliked Legend of Korra when it came out, and people still do, right?
Oh, they still do. They still
Mhm.
very much do,
I
unfortunately.
I love Legend of Korra. I
Yeah, me
think that
too.
I think the reason that it was hated on when it came out is because Korra was a woman. I
Agreed.
fully believe that that is why a lot of Korra got hate is just because it was a woman.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really liked it too. This is like the most negative my comment section's ever been. And like I've talked about
Oh my
Star Wars
gosh.
content and Marvel content. I'm really just like talking and they're like, you're watching a terrible show. Like every video I make about Korra, someone's just like hating on the show. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
wow, like it's
I
just
gotta
a
say,
cartoon. Calm down.
I'm not the biggest fan of Korra, I gotta say, but like I would say like the hate get that it gets is like not justified. I will say when I was younger and like it came out right after Avatar: The Last Airbender, I was not a fan because I was like I liked the idea of like having one continuous story as opposed to
Hmm.
like Avatar: Last Airbender was like different stories each for each thing. And that's primary reason why I
Hmm.
still am not the biggest fan. But like it's crazy that you're getting like
Yeah,
hate
and
comments
like
that are
that's
worse.
yeah, like that's fair. Like I Legend of course is so different from Avatar, so it's like it's very fair. Like that, those are very fair critiques. But I don't know, people are just so weird. People are weird.
I think it's twofold. I think it's definitely like the fact that like she's a woman and she's the main character, right?
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
I also think it's and other series will do this too. It's the whole switch up of the cast, new series, new direction, new everything. When it's like, well, what happened there? And it's like, well, don't matter. This is 75 years in the future, however long it is.
Well, well, with Korra too, it's very much like what happened with the sequels, which is like Luke was in the sequels, right? But it's like Luke in a different light, and like and Aang is mentioned in Korra, but it's a different light. So like, I really see a lot of like similarities between like the OG Star Wars and the sequels, the conversations of Avatar: Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, because right like I got this like series of like Chorus and Mary Sue, and then immediately people brought up Ray Skywalker, and I'm like, I'm not even talking about Star Wars, like people just said it. So I feel like it's a fandom thing too.
Hmm.
Like people just like very much what you were saying that like it's a switch up, and like it followed the same beats as Star Wars, and I'm like it's the same arguments as Star Wars too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's also a almost like greater than the sum of its parts sort of situation. Not only is she female, not only is it a switch up, it's a switch up turned female. Like it's woke culture. It's
Yeah.
how dare you take away my little bald
Yeah.
headed boy? He's a real man,
Yeah.
and you
And
know,
and she's and she has a girlfriend at the end of the series.
Yeah.
Like I know Nickelodeon got
Yeah, they
so
did
many
that.
emails from angry parents because she holds hands with a girl at the end of the series. Like,
I
It's very bold for that time though. Like that, I think that's why I liked it so much.
yeah.
Because I'm like, this is came out in like what, 2007 or something. Great for that.
Hmm.
I need to watch it. Like I see, like
It's
I know a
it
little
really
bit
is
about
worth
it.
watching.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Like I agree with like Sarah. Like it took me a while to get into it, but when I got into it, like I appreciated it for very different reasons that I appreciated
Hmm.
Avatar.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like I'm all for enjoying it for what it is.
Exactly.
Also,
You
I
know,
think Daniel Day Kim is also in Legend of Korra.
I've heard that.
Yeah, he's in Legend of Korra too.
Yeah.
Ozai.
Oh, is he? Okay, okay.
that's funny.
Yeah,
There's like
the
the
guy who
cast
plays
is
Ozai.
Do you
yeah,
know who he plays?
yeah. Do you know he plays?
He plays Asami's dad, I
Oh
believe. So
no
he's not like a
way!
main
Oh,
character.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good
Dan
role
I
though.
love I love
Yeah.
Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah, the cast is really good for Legend of Korra. Like Rami Malek's in it, J.K.
Yeah.
Simmons is in it, like Ami
Mhm.
Plaza's in it.
Oh.
Dante
Mhm.
Bosco's in it again, Zuko. So
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and then it lasted 5 seasons, right?
4.
Like, oh, 4?
Mhm.
So it's like
4, yeah.
little longer than Last Airbender. And but it
It's only
seems like
like
they believed
14
in it
or
more.
it was like 14 to 13 episodes per season, unlike
Oh.
Avatar. And actually,
Mhm.
so like I've had so many people tell me this in my comment section, but apparently like it was only signed up for 1 or 2 seasons, so they didn't believe in it at all, unfortunately.
Okay.
And then it got more seasons. So that is another reason why they didn't follow one storyline, was because they
Mhm.
didn't even know they were going to have more than 1 season. So like
yeah,
that's like
that I knew.
yeah, that's like unfortunately, I think that definitely hurt it a lot. Like you can tell by the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I found out that Seashell, what's her name? Seashell Gabrielle? I think she played Yue in the M. Night movie. She voices a character in Legend of Korra.
Oh.
Oh.
Who does she? She voices Asami.
Oh.
What?
That's the actress who plays Yue in the M. Night movie.
Wow.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Asami's the main character, right?
Yeah. Sami's a
She's
good
Yeah.
the main
character.
character.
That's
Okay.
Korra's
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I don't know this. Well, I knew the
Yeah.
girlfriend name, but anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. I found that out because I was like, because she was
Wild.
in another movie, and I was again, yeah, watching the movie, so I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. She was in this other movie called Slight, and she hasn't done much since. Actually, no, she was in Daisy Jones and the Six. Good for her. Daniel Day Kim is older than Paul Lee, who plays Iroh.
Oh.
In real life,
Wow.
Daniel Day Kim's older. So there was an interview with both of them, and Paul was saying that like he used to watch his career and look up to him. And it's funny because I know he was like, I know I look older, but he's actually older. And it's
By
like
how much?
4 years, 5 years.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Decent.
I mean, but that's Daniel Day Kim. Oh
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm from Hawaii, so Hawaii 5-0, Daniel Day Kim all the way. He's everything. I love him. I know that the joke around has been everybody's calling him Daddy Day Kim. Like the entire cast is calling him Daddy Day Kim.
I love that.
That's so good.
My mom loves Daniel Day Kim. Like
Mhm.
Valid. Valid.
he is moms love him and everybody else loves him. Like he's definitely that actor. I wanted to touch on this before we do get going, and that is the negativity around the girls in this cast. And I wanted to hear the three of your opinions. Not so much mine, but like the three of your opinions about, them talking about, again, like if we talk wigs, that is founded, right? But there's a twofold thing that people are talking about. It's that like the girls aren't good looking enough, that these underage girls aren't good looking enough. And then the second is that, like the actress who plays May, May, and the actress who plays Azula, that people have problems with it. Have you guys heard about any of this?
Which is really important. It's really, really messed up and really unfair.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
think it
about
goes
like
back.
them. Oh, sorry.
No. I also haven't heard about like the looks thing, but I also think it goes back to just hating on women to hate on women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is very unfair because like I think they actually casted within their age range because the kids they're really young in the original series. Like they're all like, I think Azula's like a teenager, like 14 or something. So like if they
Mhm.
casted teenagers, they look like teenagers, and like teenagers are gonna look like that, you know? So like I don't know, like it's so unfair that like they would get, I don't know, any hate towards the way they look. Like wigs are one
Yeah.
thing, that's like a Netflix problem, and I am sure they're gonna have a bigger budget the second season, so they're gonna fix the wig because they have such a great costuming. But like to hate on her looks, I'm like so worried for her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the looks, but it's really unfortunate because like you can go ahead and you can say the same thing about like some of the guy characters. There was a bunch of guy characters throughout the entire season. Like even I have my thing about Boomy. Like I didn't, like, he was iffy, but I'm not about to go around being like, oh yeah, he looks terrible.
Mhm.
I think that's like really unfortunate, especially since they are like I don't know if all of them are underage, but like especially given like if they are, but either way they're like young actresses, and like they shouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most of the actors and actresses are underage. Sokka and Suki are not. They're like mid 20s.
Mhm.
But everybody else
Yeah.
seems Zuko, Dallas Liu is like 20, I think. I remember him from
Yeah,
Pen
yeah.
15.
He's in Pen 15.
Yeah, that's
He's in
right.
Pen 15. Oh my god, no wonder he looks so
Yeah.
familiar. Oh my god. Okay, now it's like making sense. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
him now. I love that show. Sorry.
He's Maya's brother.
Yeah.
I forget
Yeah.
what his name is in that.
Mhm.
Sean, I think.
No, it's
Oh my god, he's like Anna's crush. Yeah.
yeah, Anna's crush. Um
No wonder he looks so familiar. I'm like, where are you from? Okay.
Shuji.
Studio, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And that's where I recognize him from. But oh well, people were talking about that he's not good looking enough to play Zuko, that the guy who played Jet should have played Zuko.
So ridiculous.
No.
So ridiculous. It's just the hair. They have to see him with his hair now. Like
Yeah.
they would just see it. They
Yeah.
would know.
Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, the
Yeah.
Jet guy was charming though.
But that's what Jet's
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Zuko's supposed to be angsty. Like he's supposed to be like there's no ice. There was like that comment was perfect Zuko.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There was a
Yeah.
comedic element to this that I thought was like endearing to Zuko.
Mhm.
Mhm.
By the way, did we barely see Jet's gang?
Like a hot second.
Yeah.
It was
They
like
were
a solid
introduced-
minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What were you guys saying?
Yeah, we
They
didn't.
were sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we only get a little bit of them, but I know they do come back in season 2 or 3 of the original show. So like they do come,
And
yeah,
3.
2. They do.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They do come back, but I think we didn't get enough of them.
Yeah.
I was I think we just
Yeah.
got introduced to them. So I feel like maybe they will be reoccurring
Yeah.
because technically everyone in Avatar is a reoccurring character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean they got a whole episode in the animated show, so like
True.
they
That's
definitely
very
had a
true.
lot more screen time there. Like, I think as a gang altogether, I think it was like a total of like maybe 2 minutes, 1 minute
Mhm.
30 screen time for them, which was really unfortunate. But I mean, like I liked what they did with the characters that they picked out.
Mhm.
So that was,
The
Mhm.
costuming and everything was really good. Like they
Yeah,
they
really
felt like the gang, you know,
yeah.
Are they
Mhm.
supposed to be like the Lost Boys?
essentially.
Yeah.
And Katara's Wendy in that respect?
Yeah.
It's Peter Pan
That's
bringing
actually-
Wendy.
This is the first time I've heard that. That's actually true.
That's interesting. Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah.
Huh.
So you're saying I'm a genius?
They do both wear blue. So is Jet Peter Pan? Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Mm,
Yeah.
maybe like Once Upon a Time, Peter Pan.
Yeah, definitely Once Upon a Time Peter Pan.
Like it's a twisted version of it, right? But like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
what happens in season 2? He's gonna flood the place. Was that what the thing was?
That was in season 1. So in season 2 he meets Zuko.
Oh.
They all meet in Boston Say,
Mhm.
which kind of gave me a
Mhm.
Mashu what the live action did with a Mashu, because they were all in a Mashu together. So kind of gave those same vibes. I don't know. Maybe they'll do it again in Boston, because they have to do Boston Say, because Boston Say is like a
Yeah.
major plot point of book 2.
It's
So
like 5 episodes.
yeah. So I wonder if they're going to bring him back. I wonder. They didn't really finish the storyline, so they could bring him back.
Yeah. Is
Okay.
Toph in Bossing Say?
No, she's like
Yeah.
before they meet. They meet in a village before they go to Bossing Say.
Okay. And that's the village that has the boulder? Is that what his name was?
Yeah, the boulder, the rock.
Yeah.
Do we think
Yeah.
that they're gonna get they're not gonna
The
get the rock,
pebble.
right?
No, they're not, because like he refused to do it. Well, he refused to do it originally, so maybe he'll do it for this one. But they tried to get him to do it for
Mhm.
Avatar: Last Airbender
Oh.
to voice that character, but
Yeah.
he wouldn't. So maybe he'll do it now.
He needs more work because people are not wanting to work.
Oh,
with him.
really? Oh, okay. Well,
That's
then
my
hopefully he will do
gathering.
it.
That's my gathering of because The Rock originally like left Fast and the Furious, and he came back recently. Like he doesn't have franchises anymore because
Oh.
he needs to be the biggest, baddest guy
Oh,
with no depth whatsoever, and so it's a problem. I used
He
to
might
like I
hate-
used to like The Rock, but now
well, he's gonna get beat
I
off.
thought he was going to
like,
be
beat
in
by
a
little girl.
Moana.
Oh,
what's
yeah.
that?
I thought he was going to be in like the live action Moana.
Oh, yeah.
Or like at least in
That makes
Moana
sense.
too.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely doing Moana too.
Mm.
But yeah, I think he's doing the live action one.
Well, he would be beat by Toph if he came back
so
in
he wouldn't.
Avatar. So I don't know if he would like that, because Toph's a little girl.
Yeah.
So, which would be hilarious to see.
He
But
wouldn't
I
do
don't know
that.
if he
You're
would
right.
do it.
He wouldn't do that.
Yeah. It'd be great if he did, though. That'd be really fun, though.
John Cena would.
John Cena would.
John Cena playing the Avatar's version of The Rock would be the
Would be
funniest. Like
epic.
like
That would be
his
epic.
own parody of The Rock would be super funny.
That would be so epic. And he
Yeah.
comes, that's a recurring role too, because like that rock boulder
Mhm.
comes back in the ending too. So like John Cena would be a regular then.
Yeah. Or Dave
Yeah.
Bautista.
Regular.
Dave Bautista would do it.
There's
Yeah.
Also-
a lot of, I like that
Yes.
too.
Ethnically,
that.
ethnically, he fits better.
Yeah, that fits a little
That's
bit
true.
Oh
better.
my God,
Yeah.
yeah, I love this. They have to do this.
Yeah.
Something that I wanted to touch on is how amazing it was to see so many different faces of people that, if it wasn't for this show, would have way less time, if that, on camera.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
We saw so many different faces, so many different hairstyles, facial hair, like characters and different personalities that are normally chalked up to, you know, all white casts. You know,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ken Leung's character, Commander Zhao.
Yeah, it was really good. Mhm.
I liked him. Did you guys like him?
I did.
So good.
He was
I
really
liked
good.
them.
Such a
Yeah.
twist.
Yeah, he was like he was sassy too. Like he played him so well.
Yeah. Some people didn't
He was
like
so
him.
unexpected.
Oh, really?
Everybody's
I thought
all
that-
over the place with this show. I don't get it.
Oh,
Like, because I liked him. I thought he did really well.
yeah, same.
I didn't like him initially because I was like, this is, but like right when he did like that, reverse, I was like, yes, I like this change
Mhm.
now. And now I can
Mhm.
view the first thing that I saw to like now that what's happening here. He like did like a 180 and I loved it. Or maybe a
Mhm.
360. I don't know. Whatever it is, circle type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What as we close this up, I don't know if you guys had any final thoughts, but like I guess the general question is, what do we hope for this series going forward? I think that the flaws that I think that this show has is fixable. Definitely, like for me, it's
Mhm.
pacing. Oh, also
Yeah.
editing. Like I don't know if you noticed, all the shots are really close shots. None of them are
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like-
that's true.
it's like they didn't want to show much of the background because the background's
Mhm.
fake, I'm assuming. But like all the shots are really
Budget.
close.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very
all
good
the
point.
flaws that I see for this show can be fixed if they change their mindset and
Mhm.
like whatnot.
Mhm.
Do you guys want to see a season 2?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest flaws that I felt, like just throughout the whole show, was just like, look, we did the thing from the original
Yeah.
cartoon. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see the Cabbage Man? That was the Cabbage Man. Did you see the Cabbage Man? Like, I just think
Bato?
that was a
Can we just yell Sokka yelling Bato? I'm like, who is this for? This is for
Yeah.
us. Just for him. Bato.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, what's Bato?
Bato is a character from one of the like side adventures, and he ends up being like in the dream,
Mhm.
like the spirit world, like dream sequence.
Mhm.
And Sokka just yells Bato, and it's like, how would anyone else know who this character is
Yeah.
besides the people that have watched the original? And it's really just a
Yeah.
wink and a nod, like, hey, we brought in Bato just for you
Yeah.
guys. And
Or,
it's like,
like,
okay,
when
we didn't need that.
when Sokka was giving the doll and he called him Pippin Pappin
Yeah, I
Lopoulos.
was just thinking about that.
Yeah, so there's just so many little things. Was just like, look, we did the thing from the original, which I feel like that's such an easy fix. Like, you can give a nice nod to the original show without it being so blatantly obvious and in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question, by the way. In the original cartoon, did Yue become the fish or heal the fish?
Became
She
the moon.
healed the fish and
She-
became the moon.
Okay.
She became the moon.
She became the
Yeah.
moon. But
Yeah.
in this, she heals the
She
fish.
still became the moon.
Oh, did
Yeah,
she?
I like the
Yeah.
way they did this though. Yeah, they did a good job of the way they did it. Because like in the animated, she like heals the fish and she like floats up essentially.
Okay.
Like this, like she heals the fish and then the moon comes back at the same time, which was like symbolism that
Well,
she became the
she
moon, too.
disappears though, right? Like she goes
Into
in.
the what? Yeah, she like becomes energy.
It's kind of
the
like
fish
implied that
represents
she
the moon.
becomes the moon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that scene a lot because it was like
Okay.
the first time they didn't hold our hands to it. Like they let us imply what was happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I saw it in this one is that because she was healed, maybe I'm mixing up M. Night's thing, and I'm maybe this is me.
I think you maybe need to erase that from your memory.
I messed myself up. I don't know what's a dream and what's a nightmare. I don't know anymore. I thought because the fish healed her when she was young or born or whatever, that
The
she...
fish didn't heal her.
Okay, whatever. All right. Maybe it's the M.
It
Night
was
thing
the
that's
moon
confusing.
spirit.
Part of the spirit is in her. The fish, like the moon spirit.
And I
is
thought
in
she was
her.
giving it back, but okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what
She
she's
doesn't
doing.
become the fish.
Yeah.
But she becomes the fish.
She doesn't. Like
She
the moon
like
spirit is
gives
the fish.
back part of her.
Uh-huh.
She gives the part back of the moon spirit back to the moon spirit, and then
She's part moon spirit, so she's
course,
becoming
as
back
we
to
all
moon
are.
spirit. No, you. It's like she's special.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just how the spirit world works. No one really knows. It just works this way.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Cool. All right. Glad I solved that. What do we as we close up this episode, what do we hope happens in season 2? Seeing that we all want season 2, what do we hope happens in season 2?
Hope Aang learns some waterbending for
Yes.
like starting at the very basics. This boy needs to touch some water. And then also I'm hoping for, great Toph introduction. Like there's so many great earthbending scenes and so many great stories in Ba Sing Se. I'm hoping for some of it to be spread out and a little bit more relaxed. Not as, come on, let's keep it going. But yeah, I'm hoping that we get a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
My hope for season 2 is it's fully the Tales of Ba Sing Se is my
Yeah.
favorite episode of the entire show. I hope they can do the Tales of Ba Sing Se justice and really give us like a good hearty episode for Tales of Ba Sing Se.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's creepy.
Yeah.
You
Because the
know?
Ba Sing Se is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Mm. Like I do, like I'm agreeing with both of them. But like I hope Toph has done justice because Toph is great. Like she has such awesome moments with like the cast. Like she's the funniest. like, oh, I love Toph so much. And Tales of Bossing is one of my favorite episodes too. So I feel like I hope they like slow down the show for sure, so we have those more character moments, because I feel like book 1, 2 is really character driven, but like Bossing Say, the Tales of Bossing Say, Toph is like, they're all character driven episodes. So I really hope that they lean into character driven episodes more in season 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they vary the pace, because again, I mean, it's kind of like, for me, Percy Jackson and Last Airbender here, like Avatar, like, they were very similar shows and the way they chose to adapt their source material. But like in this, like all the shots were fairly uniform and the pacing of each cut was the same. Like instead of like letting some things go like that, but then some things go like that, they were just kind of like the fight scenes had a lot of cuts, but otherwise everything just kind of worked at the same pace, and I feel like they should change that up. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but it was just kind of okay, just going through the things.
It was very singular. I mean, like you were saying, it's very uniform, and like when you mentioned like the shots were very close up, like I agree, and I think that might be due to like budgeting, like the least, like if you could remove the green screen as much as possible, that's like ideal. But yeah, maybe like doing, I don't know, like even doing like a one shot for a fight scene might be cool, but yeah, definitely changing it up would be cool.
Yeah. I want to see Toph, and I want to see the 3, Azula, Ty Lee, and May, like fight. They fight in because they come and Ty Lee jumps around and all that. Not in
season 2.
Oh, I thought you meant fight each other.
No, just like in general, like Ty Lee jumping around. She does what? Like the
she does the stunning.
Yeah,
chi blocker.
Yeah, the pressure points.
Blocking.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
And like, because those girls didn't get any time, and I don't think it's fair to those actresses to say if they're bad or good or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? But like, I want to see that, and then I guess the biggest thing is I want to see them take some risks with the lore, not like to a crazy extent, but like they did with the 41st Division. I want them to add and expand on things that they didn't get a chance to in the cartoon. Instead of following those same beats, you can follow those beats, but then also like, I don't know, something. Don't show us like the origin story of the Cabbage Man. Like, we don't need that. But like, you know,
oh my god,
a whole episode dedicated to him growing cabbages.
Oh gosh.
But like,
I would be down.
You know, something. Would you like that?
Yeah, I think it'd be funny, like a little like short YouTube thing. Like they do this for Doctor Who. They have like little short episodes. Yeah. Wait, Maria, you should watch these. But yeah, maybe if they have like little shorts like that, I think that would be funny, like an SNL short.
Yeah,
that'd be really adorable if they did that. So Legend of Korra does like silly things like that. So like that'd be like a fun homage to like, I don't know, just like the Avatar lore in the world that Avatar has. So
Star Trek does that too. Yeah, there's Star Trek shorts.
Yeah, Avatar is really goofy. Yeah. Like it's really silly, and do something like that would lead into their like silly, goofy side.
Yeah, definitely. I want them to have more fun. These actors are like, they seem like they're having a lot of fun behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But like,
same with Percy Jackson.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Both of these didn't seem as fun as it would have been behind the scenes, and that's a shame. You know. As we close up this episode for real, I want to thank all 3 of you so much for coming on the show, talking about the Last Airbender, not the Last Airbender, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix's version. Before we get going, does anyone have any final thoughts about this that they want to get off their chest? I know, you know, Sarah's on multiple podcasts talking about this. Any Keeg exclusives?
Me?
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm giving.
Oh.
No, but anyone have any final thoughts before we get going? Daniel Day Kim without a shirt on? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we need
Period.
more Daniel Day Kim without a shirt on.
Yeah.
I
Who are
agree.
you gonna
Do
root
that.
for in the final battle? I don't know.
That's true. That's true. That was unfair for us
Yeah.
to do that. Like with the Agni Kai, I was like, "What are you doing? This is like an emotional scene. Put your shirt back on."
I'm distracted.
Yeah.
I'm worried that by the time season 3 comes around, that the actor who plays Aang is gonna be kind of like a gangly kind of teenager.
Oh, 100%.
You know, like an awkward teenager
The
fighting,
Stranger Things cast?
fighting
Yeah.
Daniel Day Kim. And he's just gonna kind of like, you know? I don't know. Anyway, thank you three so much for coming on. Thank you to everybody out there who is watching and or listening. Patrick Star 92 on Twitch or All Time Vivian. Thank you to all of you. Before we get going though, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug? Maria, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'm Mario Watches Everything on Instagram and TikTok. I am finishing up Legend of Korra content, just because like I just finished season 4, so like just have stuff to finish up about. I probably will continue to talk about Avatar for like another week or two, and then maybe start talking about Doctor Who or Star Trek after that.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah?
Sure, yeah. On TikTok, I'm at movies_and_T. And then on Instagram, I'm just movies and tea. And I'm currently talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender on both platforms. Probably also going to talk about it for like another week or so. And then I'm currently rewatching Doctor Who in preparation for the new season that's going to come out. And Maria, I need to know where you're watching Star Trek because I need to watch that too.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that on the side.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And Maria, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Actually.Maria on TikTok, and then actually.Maria__ on Instagram. I've got a lot of cosplays coming up. I've got some new things coming up. I don't know if anyone knows about like Miraculous Ladybug. I've got a bunch of new stuff coming up planned with that show. So yeah.
I love your cosplay. It's like there was that TikTok meme, if the boys find out that we can shapeshift. Right? That whole
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yep.
yeah, your cosplay is really good.
I just got back from a convention too, where I was cosplaying all weekend, had all these photo shoots. So I got a lot of photos coming out soon too.
Very nice. And you're gonna be at WonderCon, right?
There are some things happening behind the scenes. I might not be able to make WonderCon anymore.
Okay.
But hopefully, fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, either way, all three of you guys do a great job with your content. I am lucky and honored to have you guys on this show to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. So thank you so much for coming on and taking time out of your night, especially your Monday night, because, you know, nobody likes Mondays. For anyone out there, like Neo Zero Rob is out there, first time chatter. If anyone's a first time chatter, like, comment, subscribe, do your thing out there. This is the Keeg Talks, where we talk about a different topic every week. Some weeks, I guess, we do 2 in a row. So yesterday, for Black History Month, we did a Black Characters in Fiction episode where we talked about just all the best stuff. And then today, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think the next one we're doing is Dune Part 2. So, you know, there's a lot of things. Every episode's a little bit different with the Keeg Talks. We also got Comic Talk every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about DC, Marvel, indie comics that came out that week. And then we have a monthly X-Men show called State of X. So those you can all find at our on Instagram and TikTok if you want to find our schedule there, at The Keeg Show / The Keeg Show, pretty much anywhere on social media. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv / The Keeg Show or youtube.com / The Keeg Show, or you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. That's pretty much it. those are all the plugs on my end. Thank you guys so much for being on this. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been the Keeg Talks Avatar, The Last Airbender. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Super fast, gotta beat the boss and get the loot, cause it's the king, and we got geek news.